Hello, folks.
Hello.
Hey, hope you're doing all right. Welcome to Stay Well.
I'm doing really well.
Dr. Zorba Pastor. You are doing well, aren't you?
Now I say that's me. Watch. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Just watch. That's me.
There it is. You got it, folks. That's him. You're chipper today.
But it is me, actually.
It's you.
I am me.
Yeah.
Such an odd idea, but please
And
go on.
I'm Carl Christensen. I'm sitting across the desk from him.
And I'm Zorba Pastor.
He's Zorba
That's
Pastor.
right.
He's right there. The real,
I'm
in the
not
flesh.
Carl. I am not
doctor.
Carl Christensen.
All right, we got a big show today. We're going to look at GLP-1 drugs, Ozempic, and others, and the new and Wegovy, and the new guidelines laid out by the World Health Organization
For its use.
That's right. Okay. Zorba's going to help out a caller. He'll take a few listener voicemails. He will answer a few listener emails, and he's going to talk medical quackery in our Quack Tales segment.
I say that every time, don't I? Quack!
That's right.
I do not sound like a duck. I'd like to sound like a duck.
You sound like Zorba.
I got to tell you something. I looked at my dog the other day, Bailey. He's a wonderful dog. I looked at him and I said to him, he looked right in my eyes. He looked at my eyes. I said, Bailey, if you say one word, that's all you need is one word, you will get the best food you could possibly have for the rest of your life. All you have to do is say, really, doesn't it? Or one syllable like woof, but not a bark.
But woof.
If he did that, well, kind of the right woof or yes. And I looked at him, I said, you'll get the best food ever. You will live the life of the king of dogs. And you know what happened? Nothing.
They didn't say any words.
Nothing. But he looked at me, kept on looking me in the eyes, and I'm sure all he heard was Bailey, or food.
So yeah, we'll do the Quack Tales segment. That one actually,
Quack.
one might get bloody too, so stick around for that.
Bloody quack tails?
Yeah, watch out.
Well,
that's what's called a tease.
There are hunters around.
That's true. That's true.
That's right.
We're also going to revisit the possibility of bottling Zorba's laugh for medicinal purposes. There it is, right there. That's a freebie for you. The phone number to call anytime if you have a question for the good doc is 608-492-9292.
That's right. It's 608-492-9292. And I answered 95% of the calls, either on the phone, on the air, or by email.
That's right, folks. Let's get right into it, Zorba. The WHO, the World Health Organization, has announced new guidelines for GLP-1 drugs for weight loss. We're talking about drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy,
right.
etc.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the GLP drugs, as you know, are used. First of all, they've been used for diabetes for a decade and a half, but the initial drug that came out, which was Victoza, did not cause any weight loss. So, but the drugs are very useful. Very useful. The GLP-1 drugs for diabetes and another group of drugs called SGLT2 drugs added to the oral drug metformin have rapidly changed diabetes. We know that GLP drugs, when used in the right people who have diabetes, reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke, and also, to some extent, probably appear to reduce the risk of actually getting kidney failure. So they're great drugs. Lo and behold, as the new ones came out, new meaning a few years old, they found with Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other ones coming on the market that a subgroup of these cause weight loss. Now, if you've seen people who have 30 to 50 pounds of weight loss and you ask them how they'll do it, if they go, I've really been doing diet and exercise, that may be true. But like Oprah, they may be doing diet and exercise along with the GLP-1 drug. So the World Health Organization, WHO, recently looked at things, and they're a really good organization. They're not the be-all and end-all. They're not like the gold standard. They're one of many gold standards. And they have come out and said, look, we've got lots of obesity. Maybe it's a quarter of the population now. Why do we have obesity? That's another story. Why is it actually happening? But they've said these should be used by people who have long-standing obesity, and except for pregnant women, along with, quote, intensive behavioral therapy. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
That's what I mean. And changes with diet and exercise. So they'll say, yes, we should do it, along with intensive behavioral therapy. Does that mean daily, weekly, monthly? How do you define intense? Well, they didn't do it, like I said.
Yeah.
So in other words, but I think these drugs are really good, very good, to kickstart a weight loss. They're expensive, first of all.
Yeah.
Yes, they're getting cheaper, but they're expensive. And a generic will not be out for a long time, believe me. We're talking about, from my last read, 5 to 10 years.
Why? Why does it take so long for generic?
Well, you know how much money they spent to actually produce, do you know how much research they spent looking for GLP-1 drugs? probably $3 to $5 billion.
Wow.
If you look at all the drug companies together, they were just looking for different drugs within this class. And so they got to get payback. I mean, if they didn't spend the money on research, if they didn't have the profit motive, we would not have these drugs.
So you're saying they will delay the generic just so they can recoup their costs?
First of all, the generic, once it goes off patent, it can be, produced generically. But the drug companies, the big pharma drug companies, have a way of skirting that.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll say, yes, we'll say Ozempic, you can do Ozempic, but we have Ozempic. The way we actually deliver it in the syringe is under a different copyright. In other words, it's a different copyright or it's a different patent. And so the vehicle for the Ozempic, the liquid that the Ozempic actually gets into, that's still under patent. So they can delay that. Or they buy the generic company.
Oh, sure.
Because they have a lot of money.
Okay.
So they buy the generic company.
And then sit on their hands?
Well, they sit on whatever.
Yeah.
They're derriere.
Okay.
But they buy the generic company. And then they get pushed. You got to let the generic company produce it. And so the generic company may come out and produce it. But that doesn't happen until the second generic company starts to interfere with the first. But they can delay it then for 6 months to 2 years. After that, it's game player.
Okay.
If you look at Viagra, that's what happened with Viagra. In other words, Viagra, which would cost $30 an orgasm.
Right.
That's right.
You love that line.
Don't you?
You've said that before.
Don't you? You know it was coming. You weren't even.
I
You
did
weren't
know it
even
was
initially
coming.
laughing. You know it's going to say $30 an orgasm, but it was about $30 an orgasm. Now it's only 50 cents for an orgasm.
Yeah.
So it's back.
Talk about a cheap shot.
Oh, a cheap shot. That is disgusting.
This is a podcast. We're not on public radio here.
But we have public radio listeners, and many of them are sensible. But some of them, even though they're sensible, are a little bit salacious.
There you go.
Anyway, so getting off of that, back to the GLP-1s.
Okay, please.
We lost. You're welcome. I think these drugs are useful, but I think they're most useful for 1 or 2 years. You get on the drugs, you lose the weight, you do your own intensive therapy. You read about it, you learn how to eat the other way because often they cause a little nausea, so you don't eat as much during the day. The stomach feels more full during the day. That begins to change your habit. You may not be hungry at night. So you got to pay attention to those habits and then develop a different habit. Because there's good research that after 2 years, 1 to 2 years, if you stop the drugs and you have worked on it yourself with your own intensive therapy, that there is a 75 to 80% chance you will keep the weight loss off. Because nobody wants to take these drugs their whole life if they can keep from doing it. I mean, some people say, I don't care, I'm going to be on the drugs forever. But I think more than half the people, maybe 3/4 will say, I want to kickstart it. I'm going to do it myself. I think I can do it. And I think these drugs really have amazing benefits. They are safe when taken as directed.
If you have a question for the good doc, you can call this number anytime.
Anytime.
608-492-9292. That's 608-492-9292.
And I answered 95% of these calls, either on the phone, on the air, or by email. And you can email me at I got to get the email address.
You got
it's
this.
always that way. It's
you
my
got this.
brain.
Yeah, that's okay.
Ask Dr. Zorba. Spell it out at gmail.com. .com? Where's my
There's no
brain
comma
going
there.
today?
.com. That's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
People it's a podcast. People like to hear the
they
screw-ups.
want to have the real screw.
Yeah.
That's right. Well,
they want to see how the sausage is made.
Hey, I had coffee. I don't have anything to drink. Well, I did have coffee. Ask Dr. Zorba at gmail.com. I am now on task. Once again, I answer 95% of the calls on the air by email or by phone.
Let's go to the phones now. Let's do that. Let's try to help out a caller in Hudson, Wisconsin. Hi.
Hello. Great to talk to you both. And I'm sure Dr. Zorba has answered this many, probably too many times.
Maybe. Every call is unique. Every person is unique, and life is unique.
Fingerprints, right? Like fingerprints.
That's old fashioned.
That is?
It's facial recognition.
Oh, okay.
You are down to fingerprints. You are so 1955. I can't believe it. I don't even think your parents were married in 1955.
They weren't. No.
That's right.
They weren't. No.
See, it's beyond you. Please go on. We're now just going away. How can I help you?
Thank you. So it's regarding vitamins, and I really just want to know how a person can determine the best vitamins that are out on the market.
Sure.
Trusting the ingredients and not filled with junk,
Right.
and which one actually delivers is what I would love to know.
Yeah. And by the way, this really is a good question. And I've been listening to old time radio. I listened to it go to sleep. And the 1940s and 1950s, before TV came out, they had comedians, they had variety shows, they had detective shows. Carl's eyes are now sort of clouding over.
I've heard some of that.
He can't even remember when the 1940s were. That was like more than almost a century ago.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Rexall Drugs, a drug chain, franchise drug chain that is not around anymore, had super plenamins. That was the name of their vitamins, super plenamins. And I was with my friend Dan, and we were talking about how we knew that term, super plenamins, which meant they advertised it. You could only buy it at Rexall drugstores. So the question you're asking has really been around for probably at least 100 years. That was back in the 50s, but it's really been around a long time. And the U.S. government has answered that question. So if you look at a multivitamin and it says, and we'll talk about other things that may be in it, but it says 100% of your MD, minimum daily requirements, MDR, and it also says USP or USP certified. It means the vitamin tablet that you swallow goes into your stomach. It'll get all the vitamins out. Your stomach acid will get all your vitamins out. But there's something else that can get people confused. And let me tell you, there are guys out there that made millions and millions of dollars of selling expensive vitamins. You've seen those on the market, right?
Yes.
$25, $50 for a month's supply. And you go, wait a minute, how does this compare to Walmart, Kmart? Well, Kmart doesn't exist, but Walmart, Costco, Walgreens, CVS. I mean, it's the perfect question. And they make a lot of money. Let me tell you then another aspect of this. If you look at your poop, and believe it or not, some people, especially those of Germanic origin, who are very careful to look at their poop, you're laughing.
This took a turn.
Are you of German origin?
Yeah, there's some German. Yeah, mostly Norwegian, but yeah, there's some German.
Yeah, but the Germans, believe it or not, especially in Germany,
took a turn.
I'm going on to, hey.
I like it.
It's a poop discussion. It's a poop discussion. Often you're laughing. But this has, actually, I'm going to give you value here. Sometimes see the skeleton of the vitamin in their poop. In other words, it may be absorbed, but sometimes there are parts of the pill that are still present that didn't dissolve that come out in the vitamin, bits and pieces. Now, believe it or not, I have never seen that because when I...
You don't look at your poop?
Well, come on. Some of us, after we flush the toilet, do look over our shoulder and see exactly what is going to go down the drain. That is not an unusual thing. You are now laughing, and Carl is now blushing.
You just let it go. You got to let it go. Don't look back.
You did not realize, and you're laughing too. Any discussion about poop in America
I'm for it.
brings people to the forefront, and they will see these fragments in their stool. And there's a guy that basically made liquid vitamins. I don't remember his name now, but when I wrote my national book, How to Live a Long, the Longevity Code, How to Live a Long, Sweet Life, he was on the road too, and I met him, and he, believe me or not, he had a Rolex. I mean, it was, or a Patek, whatever that, very fancy watch, and he was making a ton of money. I was the warm-up, he was the guest speaker. And he had invented basically liquid vitamins that looked like poop. They were brown liquid vitamins. They didn't they did. They kind of, but he sold it on the idea that these vitamins are going to be absorbed because the vitamins that you get in a tablet are not absorbed. He was wrong, but he made a lot of money. And by the way, as you know, some people who are wrong make a lot of money these days, any days. So the long and the short of it is, if it says 100% of the minimum daily requirements and USP, that's the minimum you should take. Okay, so start with that. You can buy a 1-year supply of that in a big box store or perhaps your neighborhood drugstore, on the brand of that drugstore that they deal with for about $20 a year. $20 for 365 tablets. Now, what should you take in addition to that? I recommend you take 2,000 of vitamin D3. So I recommend vitamin D3. I used to recommend E. I'm going to get onto that for a minute. There's not enough in a multivitamin. So I would take a multivitamin, USP, from a branded store, because you know it's going to be USP, it's going to be there because they're standing behind it. A vitamin D3, 2,000 units, and I would take 500 to 7,500 to 750 milligrams of calcium, elemental calcium.
Okay.
That's what I would do, because you got to have enough calcium. The rest of the calcium you should get from food. That's what I would recommend. I used to be a vitamin E fan. Big national study, the physician study and the nurses' health study. We took vitamin D. They looked at it over a 5-year period. No reduction in stroke, no reduction in heart attacks, no reduction in Alzheimer's, no reduction in memory loss. Vitamin E, forget it. I had a guy in medical school that I brought, because I was head of our student council, to speak in the medical school. Vitamin E, your key to a healthy heart. This is in 1972. Long time ago. Gave a speech, turned out he made a lot of money on his book. I don't think he had vitamins. Doesn't do anything. But you need D3, you need some calcium. And I used to be anti-multivitamin only because if you take the vitamin and you don't eat 5 servings of fruits and veggies that are colorful, you're missing the boat. Take it in addition to good eating.
Okay, just an added question. I wrote these things down, but an added question that I'm curious about. I was just in a store earlier, a co-op actually, and I was asking about vitamins, and she introduced me or showed me the liquid. So you happen to mention that in this phone call right now. So is liquid better for you to take?
Not at all. The liquids are not better. They're completely wrong. However, if you want to take a liquid and it's the same price as the tablet, you take the liquid. You know, it's definitely, but it is not better. And so if they believe it's better, it is a belief system not based on science. Because when you eat your food, I mean, think about it. You eat something. You eat some meat or some chicken, some protein or some fish. If you took that and put it in a blender and blended it up, you're going to get the same thing. Right? Because your body knows how to churn and move acid and stuff. And there's a belief for some.
Okay.
You follow me? Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, some people like it. And once again, a co-op may say, we know this and it's there. But if it doesn't say USP, it doesn't have that imprint that they have to go through a very high standard to get it through the federal standards. It may be as good, but I don't know. And I want to go with USP.
Okay.
And by the way, USP is never on supplements because the federal government does not regulate supplements. It regulates calcium and it'll regulate vitamin D3. So how do you? Let me ask you a question. How do you eat? How's your fruit and vegetables on a whole? Not every day, but what would you say?
I'd say very good. And at this point, my husband and I and myself are in our 70s, a little bit later 70s.
Like
and
me.
We take a multi in winter specifically.
Of course.
Just feel like we need that extra.
Right.
But other than that, we eat well.
Right. We don't have all the beautiful fruits and veggies that we get at the farmer's market. And, we're back to the fact that, there's fruits and veggies in the store, but we just consume more once spring and summer comes. So that really is an excellent idea for people who don't have vitamins to think about at the beginning of the winter, around the middle of September, when the equinox starts, the autumn equinox, to the beginning of spring with the spring equinox. Look at more vitamin D3. Look at making sure you take your vitamins, and that's sort of preparing for winter, especially in the great North Midwest.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure. It's just great talking to you.
It's great talking to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Stay well.
And
stay well.
Hey, that's your line.
And that's my line. Hey, she's teaching. And thanks.
I know, that's why I used it.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Appreciate it. You take care.
Oh, you're terrific.
Thanks.
All righty, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for that call at 608-492-9292. That's 608-492-9292.
And I answered 95% of these calls on the phone or on the air or by email if you leave your email address.
Let's take a listener email now. This is a question from a listener named Stephanie who writes, Dr. Zorba, I appreciate your pragmatic viewpoint And thank you for continuing your career with this podcast.
Well, thank you.
That's
Thank you.
nice.
I mean, after 35 years on public radio and almost as many on our CBS TV in Madison, Wisconsin, I love doing this. And this is the new media. Well, it's been around for a long time,
Right.
so it's not new. But this is where media is going in podcasts. And if you're listening to the podcast, I want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Stephanie continues. In middle age, I notice more and more changes in my health, and some changes might even be considered symptoms. I tend to take a wait and see approach rather than call my physician right away. When is, quote, wait and see appropriate, and when is it not recommended? And how can I tell if the wait and see progresses into call the doctor?
You know, God, that is such
That's a
such a
tricky
good question
question, yeah.
and complex.
Yeah.
So if you have chest pain, you don't wait and see.
You don't wait and see.
That's
No,
right.
you call the doctor.
If you have, your face drops, FAST, which is for stroke, facial drop, arm weakness, speech difficulties, that means it's time to call your doctor. I mean, that's the acronym for that. So there's some things you call right away. Fall down, fracture your ankle, you're going to call right away. But for the minimal symptoms that may be associated with upper respiratory type infections during any time of year, sometimes people, frankly, they call too quickly. They go, gee, I feel sick. I can't be sick now. Nobody has ever called up in my lifetime. And I practiced for more than 45 years and said, I have the time to be sick. Mm-hmm. Nobody has ever said that to me. They never, ever, and they never will, undoubtedly. But if you've got something that's upper respiratory infection and you don't have COPD or something serious, you can usually wait. You know, you can go to the store and see if it's COVID. You know, if it's COVID, then you make a decision whether or not to call or not call, whether or not, to go on a medication, or not go onto a medication. But on the whole, you can wait. So I think if you've got minimal symptoms, you can do that. Frankly, I tell people, look on the web, look on Google, Dr. Google, because basically, if you look at Google, you'll often get good information if it is from a good organization like a University of Wisconsin, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, places like that. They're going to give you good information. I've got a lot of faith that when people use, quote, common sense, whatever that means, in other words, that they often will do it, in the correct way. And the other thing is, think about what your mom would say. If this is not a mom joke.
I was going to say,
it's not a mom joke. I'm not making a mom joke.
Okay,
you're looking at me because I said mom. And all of a sudden, your mom like, I'm going to make a mom joke. No, moms are not a joke,
No
even
way.
though your mom makes jokes.
There you go.
If you asked your mom something serious, she wouldn't answer with a joke. She would say, Carl, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And often they've seen more than you have, And if you're old enough, so your mom is gone, think about what your mom would say. I'm serious.
I like that. That's
Channel
good
your
advice.
mother. If you notice, I don't say your father, because often it's your mother who dealt with illness in the house. I mean, even in my house, they would, even in my house when the kids were sick, they would say, Mom, what do you think? And you know what she would say? Ask your father. I mean, because I was the doctor. That's what she
But
would
they'd go
say.
to you. They go to her first, even
Yeah,
though you're
they
the
would go
doctor.
to her first.
That's interesting.
She would say, ask your father. Why are you asking me? That's what she would say. I mean, she was a teacher. When it came to schoolwork, if the kids asked me, you know what I would say? Ask your mother. She's the teacher. So you got to know, within a family, we lived together, Penny and I, before she passed away, for 50 years. You got to know your skill set, and
Yeah.
you've got to know where you end and your spouse begins. That's really part of a good life. Okay, Carol, we talk about how much we both love coffee, and it doesn't hurt that there are health benefits to drinking coffee as well, which is why we're partnering with Just Coffee Cooperative on this podcast.
Just Coffee Cooperative is committed to transparency with their online coffee tracker. You enter the code on your coffee bag, and it tells you the country of origin, the roast type, the roast date, how much per pound was paid to the grower, and you can even view the contract under which the green coffee was purchased.
And guess what, listeners? If you use the code Zorba10, you'll get 10% off your entire order on their website, www.justcoffee.coop. Just Coffee Cooperative, justice from the grounds up.
If you have a question for us, you can call the show anytime at 608-492-9292. Or you can email, right? You can
That's
email.
Right. AskDrZorba@gmail.com. Spell it out. Ask Dr. Zorba, that's me, at gmail.com.
Okay, Zorba. A while back, we did this bit where a listener who happened to be named Carl Christensen.
Oh, that's right.
Remember him?
Remember, yes.
From Wisconsin, too.
Yes, right, yeah.
Thanks. If you're out there listening, thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
He loved your laugh so much, he suggested it should be prescribed for medicinal use. Do you remember this?
I do.
So I had some fun with it.
I do.
And I recorded a disclaimer for Zorba laughs, something you might hear kind of at the end of a pharmaceutical commercial. And we got a whole bunch of listener responses from that, which is thanks, listeners.
I do remember that.
Yes.
Yes. That's right.
Okay, I'm just going to read one of the emails. This is from Amy in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, who writes, "Hello, Dr. Zorba and Carl. Thanks for a superb podcast." Good start. Thanks, Amy.
It is, yes.
I loved your bonkers disclaimer for Zorba laughs. First off, can you please play it again?
Okay.
It went by too quickly. By design, I presume, she says. So I'll play it again for you, Amy. Here we go. And for anyone who hasn't heard it, this is Zorba laughs disclaimer. Zorba laughs may cause joy, happiness, endorphin rush, positive outlook, good karma, positive thoughts, hugs become free, increased giddiness, improved mustache growth, uncontrolled smiling, an autobahn to happy town, bubble baths become more meaningful. Grammar and pronunciation cops should avoid prolonged exposure to Zorba laughs. Zorba laughs should not be touched, inhaled, or looked at. Zorba laughs may stick to certain types of skin. If Zorba laughs begin to smoke, get away immediately. Seek shelter and cover head. Do not taunt Zorba laughs. Ingredients of Zorba laughs include an unknown glowing green substance which fell to Earth, presumably from outer space 35 years ago. Results may vary. Do not take if you're allergic to Zorba laughs. It's got a little laugh there at the end.
That is so funny.
Amy continues in this email. She says, and secondly, I remember Zorba saying he had experience working on clinical drug trials.
Yes, that is correct.
I'd love to hear Zorba talk about the process of getting Zorba laughs funded and fast-tracked through the system and then FDA approved for use as soon as possible. Lord knows we could use it right now. How does the process work?
Well, you start with a new drug discovery, NDD. So you got to start with that, NDD.
Okay.
You got to file it with the FDA. They then spend a year or two overlooking it. Then you've got to do a double-blind placebo-controlled trial. So you got to compare my laughter to nothing. And then you've got to see whether or not my laughter or blank space or dead air, as we say, whether or not there's a difference. And once you proved, once you've done it through, I don't know, a couple thousand people, you do it, then I can then trademark or copyright my laughter, and then I can sell it if anyone is willing to buy it. And then I patent it. Then I can patent it and copyright it. Now, if it's copyright, the copyright is different. I think it's 100 years, something like that. If it's a copyright, I get to keep it for 100 years. But if it's a patent, it's only 17 years.
17 years.
Was that good enough?
That was great. That was
much
more than I knew about it.
Yeah, that's right. But how do you know what I'm saying is real?
I just trust you.
That's
I trust
right.
the good
It's
doc.
trust.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's all trust here. Have a healthy living question for Zorba? Just post it on our Facebook page or call the show at 608-492-9292. Okay, listeners, you are listening to a podcast. I don't know if you knew that. I hope you knew that. We are a podcast.
We are a podcast. We are podcast. Get rid of the A. We are podcast.
We are podcast.
Like we are the world? Well, that's the. We are the podcast. We are the podcast.
There it is. We're going to get sued for that one, man. You can't use that song. Anyways, you can review podcasts, especially on Apple Podcasts.
Yes.
And we like to do this thing from time to time where Zorba reads your reviews of our podcast.
Okay.
So he's never seen these. I'm passing this sheet of paper over to him right now. Crinkle, crinkle.
From Love Me Odie. I love it.
Love Me Odie. Okay.
Wonderful show combining good information and humor. Good. Actually, that's what we're trying to do. All the best for a wonderful day. Cool. I love it. Dr. Zorba and Carl. I'm glad she didn't say Dr. Carl and Zorba. You guys are the best. I listen to you through podcasts, and when I see your podcast logo, it makes me smile, and I immediately open it up. Thank you for all you do, and have a wonderful day every day. I like that.
That's a nice
I like
one.
that signature. Yes. Have a wonderful day every day.
That is good.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Not have a great day or have a nice day, but have a wonderful day every day.
Every day.
I'm going to try that.
You should. Yeah.
Like after I, go, seriously, when I go to Quick Trip or something and I say thank you, I'm going to say have a wonderful day every day. Do the
I like
pause.
that.
You got to have the pause.
So wait, when you go to Quick Trip, you're telling me you don't say "stay well" when you walk away from the cash register?
Let's do the next thing.
Okay.
Anne from Versailles,
along.
France. I bought Rumen's 20 thanks to Zorba and love it. That's the cookbook.
Oh, yeah,
That
you
is my
mentioned that.
favorite. Incredible. It is a cookbook that will teach you how to cook. I love it. She bought it. Wonderful. Also, down to earth, straight answers to people's questions we try. And of course, the laughter brightens my week. Well, thank you.
From France.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And,
That's beautiful.
And from Versailles, France. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You've been there at that, right?
I have.
Yeah.
But, in Kentucky, it's called Versailles.
Okay.
No, it is.
Is it
Versailles.
really?
Yeah, they call
There
it.
is a Versailles,
I think it's
Kentucky.
the capital. It's
Oh.
Versailles, but they pronounce it Versailles.
It's not the capital of Kentucky.
No, it's not. It's not.
Quick,
I'm
on the
just
spot.
tricking
What's
you.
the capital of Kentucky?
I don't know. Oh, Frankfurt.
There you go. I think that one
See?
I knew. Yeah. You
That
got
means
it.
my brain is still working. I haven't thought about that since, I don't know, elementary school or high school.
Love it. Let's go
How
to.
did we get into the words?
I don't know. I'm trying to move on here. Shall we move on to the voice? We got a voicemail.
Let's move on.
Let's do a voicemail. This is a listener from Wisconsin.
Hi, Dr. Zorba. My problem is a lack of appetite, total lack of appetite. I have cancer. I've been treated with chemo and radiation, and the last radiation was September 5th. And for some reason, about a week or two after the radiation, I started losing my appetite, and now I have none. And I just find it hard to eat anything at all. I was wondering if you could give me some tips on getting that appetite back. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I do have a few tips. So first of all, that is not unusual. Post-chemo or post-radiation. When you have radiation, you're getting burned. That's what it is. You're being burned with radiation. And so, when they give you radiation, you're doing it maybe for 6 to 8 weeks. They're going around in a circle or a semicircle because they want to make sure they burn as little as they can. They want to burn the cancer. They're zeroing in on the cancer and going around at a certain degree to try to hit the cancer every time they do the radiation, but keep from hitting other organs that are nearby. And that's always the attempt. But the cancer itself and the radiation and having cancer, all of those can lead to lack of appetite. So I've got a couple of suggestions. First of all, there's a calorie suggestion. I highly recommend you get enough protein. Boost, Ensure, Glycerna, those are good. But I like the proteins that you can now get at a variety of places, from Costco to Walmart, that are 30 grams of protein for 180 calories.
Is it like a bar?
No, it's not a bar. The bars are only
Oh,
about
it's like
12.
a pouch.
The bars, no, it's a
Oh.
bottle.
Oh, it's a bottle.
The bars
Gotcha.
are usually 8 grams of protein.
Okay.
They might be 15, and they're mostly peanut protein, which is okay. But the bottles of you've never tasted it, like Fairlife and the other.
I think I've had one of those.
What
Maybe.
are you? I take one every morning. They're
Yeah.
like 180 calories. They're 30 grams of protein.
What
You
do they
need
cost?
60 grams of protein. Costs about $3, $3 or $4
$3 a bottle? Okay.
Kind of what it costs. Yeah, if you're going to go to get a Starbucks and get a drink, they're about $3 or $4. Think about 30 grams of protein. Buying 30 grams of animal protein will cost you more than $3.
Sure, that's
You've
true.
got to look at
That's true.
protein from a protein point of view. $3 to $4 for 30 grams of protein is actually cheap. It's usually whey protein. Sometimes it's soy. Sometimes a combination. You've got to get enough protein in your system. You don't have to drink it all at one time, but drink it throughout the day. Put it there. Put it in some ice. Very interesting. Somebody said to me now, I have an ice cream maker. Can I put it in the ice cream maker and make ice cream? And I said, why not?
Sure.
Try it out. So he made, and he added then not whipped cream, heavy cream to it. So he put this in instead of the milk, because often it's milk and cream, put in cream. So he made a dense, protein-rich ice cream. So that's number one. Number two, look at things like ice cream that you may like. As you get older, when you get radiation, when you get chemo, you don't taste things as well, but you feel the cold as well. And ice cream reverberates childhood memories of, I want to finish, you're smiling right now.
That's nice.
I want to finish that dish. I want to finish that cone. So ice cream should be on every person who has cancer's schedule. Don't think about, hey, it's a waste of calories. It's not. You're getting high fat, high sugar calories into your system. The third thing is get a gummy. And I'm talking about a THC gummy. Go and get gummies. And try a quarter of a gummy, usually they're 10 milligrams, and try a 2.5 milligram. If you're going to actually get somebody to buy it for you, I want to remind you, in Wisconsin, you are committing a crime if you take a gummy.
Yeah.
If you go to Illinois and eat your gummy and then cross the state line and it's in your system, I don't know if they can arrest you because you committed a crime in Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a joke. I'm sure they can't arrest you, and I'm sure they won't arrest you. And if you're in the 70s, I've never seen a policeman stop a 70-year-old person and say, "What's in that gummy, guy?" They're really not going to do it. But anyway, gummy. And I would go, if you're going to get one, you want to have somebody ask if they're going to buy it at a registered store. That's what I would do. And I would say, I want a gummy. I want to have chocolate or something else. 10 milligrams. I'm going to take a quarter. I'm going to divide it into quarters. You might be able to buy a 2.5 milligram. I don't know if they come in that. If you're going to break it, you want to do it with you're looking at, I'm doing it on here with my finger.
Yeah.
Little cross you're looking at, with a razor.
You're cutting a gummy. Okay. Yep. Take
2.5 milligrams because you don't know how it's going to affect you.
Sure.
Obviously you're not going to drive. Take 2.5 milligrams an hour before you eat and see if it works. Because for people with HIV/AIDS, especially before triple therapy came out, they lost all their appetite and they get a little stoned. There were no gummies. I mean, there were brownies, but they weren't very good. But the little toke of marijuana, and that often would affect their appetite. The issue with combustible pot or marijuana is that it's more likely to inebriate you than a gummy.
And it's hard on the lungs, too.
It's hard. Yeah. Well, it's hard. Yeah, it is hard on the lungs. So gummy is really a better way to go. It also is a different, quote, high. It's a seductive high. It may make you tired, but it's not going to make you, gaga. So that's why I recommend gummies to older people. I recommend also for people with chronic pain. And I also recommend the federal government, if you're listening to the podcast.
Oh, they're always listening.
To take THC and marijuana out of the same category as heroin. It is not like heroin. Put it in the category. I mean, you can do research on morphine and fentanyl and hydrocodone easily, but you can't do research on marijuana because it's considered to be the same as heroin. Make a change. No federal official has ever made a change, and they can do that with just their signature.
Okay, Zorba. Throughout the history of medicine, we've seen countless contraptions and elixirs claiming to cure ailments and professing miraculous health benefits. And we still do. Right? A lot of snake oil out there still.
Of course.
We talk about it. Yeah. We talk about it all the time. Let's trudge through the murky past of medical quackery in this segment we call Quack Tales.
I'm ready.
Quack Tales. Nailed it. Okay, Zorba, we've talked about bloodletting before.
Yes, we have.
It's been a while, but we've talked about it on Quack Tales. Classic quackery right there.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened to George Washington. They kept on bleeding him, and then he died. He'd still be alive today if they hadn't done that.
He died from bloodletting?
No, he died from bloodletting because he had what was probably a strep infection. Oh. He had something called quinsy, which was a strep infection in the tonsils, in the tonsils. It was called quinsy. That was the name for it. And it was getting worse and worse. It was cutting off his breathing. So they bled him and bled him and bled him and bled him. Then he died.
Do they use leeches like some people?
No, they opened him up and bled him. They opened up the vein and put a bottle or something underneath and bled him. Leeches on George Washington? Come on.
Wow. Yeah. See, folks, I told you this one would get bloody. Here we are. This is an email from Michael in Jacksonville, Florida, who says, "Hello, Dr. Zorba. I love your show. Recently,
thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Recently, you guys were talking about bloodletting. While there is no place for bloodletting for a broken heart or psychiatric illness, I've been diagnosed with a blood disorder. Where my body is making too many red blood cells and platelets. It seems to be keeping my blood pressure chronically high, even with losartan and amlodipine."
He did a good job. You can be a doctor.
I can?
If you pronounce the words.
You just have to pronounce it right?
You pronounce it right, you get your license. You didn't know that?
Give me a white coat. I'm ready. Amlodipine. Is that right, too?
Amlodipine. No, you missed it. You just missed that.
Oh, really? It's on the
And not amlodipine. Amlodipine.
Amlodipine. Gotcha. Okay.
Say it again. Amlodipine.
Amlodipine.
That's right. Yeah, like I said,
where's my jacket?
We'll train you eventually.
All right. Michael goes on. My doctor has me going to phlebotomy to
Right.
drain blood.
Yeah, once a month or so.
If that doesn't work, he plans to add some medication to disable the mutation.
Right.
I hope you don't respond by saying my doctor is a quack,
No,
because
not at
that
all.
would be a smidge disconcerting.
Yeah, smidge. Yeah, no, that's right.
That's
there is
legit.
a disease. You make too much blood, hemochromatosis. You make too much blood, and you've got to get it. You have to get the blood out of the system because there's too much blood. You're making too much blood, and often, like you said, often it's bloodletting. And what's interesting is the blood that you give up for hemochromatosis is not, the Red Cross will not accept it.
Okay.
I'm not sure why, but Red Cross is incredibly restrictive on the blood that they accept because they want to keep the blood supply really healthy. That's very important. So here it is. There, a number of people have it, and the blood is not acceptable to that. So it's wasted. That's the term, which means I don't know what they do with it. They don't throw it down the sink.
They don't throw it out? Do they use
They
it for
do
something else?
No, they don't use it for anything. But it's given. There's a biological way that they get rid of blood, and I don't know what that is. And I bet there's folks out there that do.
Let us
and
know.
if you know how to get rid of blood when they do the bloodletting, and you're listening to this, would you write me at askdrzorba@gmail.com? Spell it out. askdrzorba@gmail.com.
All right, Zorba, we got to end this one. We learned a lot, though.
We did.
We learned about the WHO has new guidance on GLP-1 drugs for obesity. You helped out a caller about vitamins. We talked all about vitamins. We learned a lot
and
about
what you
that.
may find in your poop.
Yeah, exactly. You read some reviews. We
We
heard
like
about
that.
we prescribed Zorba's Laugh as a medicinal
Totally.
thing.
Totally. I'm with it. I'm trademarking it. I'm copywriting it, the whole thing.
You helped out a lot of people. We talked about bloodletting. That's it. We did it. What can they do? Can they call the number if they
They
want to
can
hear?
do 608-492-92. That's 608-492-92. And I answer 95% of the calls on the phone or on the air or by email if you leave your email. And of course, you can write me at askdrzorba@gmail.com. And remember, folks, we've got a website, pictures, a whole bunch of other things, recipes at drzorba.org. Spell it out, Dr. DOCTORZORBA.org.
And then what do you say at the end of every show?
Stay well.